Remember words by reading essays. A spark in the chaos.
Good day.
Everyone,
Today.
we're going to dive into an interesting article titled A Spark in the Chaos. In this lesson, we will explore some key vocabulary and phrases used in the text. Let's begin by listening to the entire article first, just to get an overall sense of the story and its flow.
In a city where politics and business were deeply entangled, hospitals thrived on corruption. Doctors often demanded kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies, leaving patients to shoulder an unfair burden. Lena, a journalist, began investigating, only to find that the documents and testimonies were deliberately obscure, sometimes so elusive that she couldn't tell truth from lies, and at times even arcane, as though written for only a chosen few to understand. She had to wield her pen like a weapon to expose the scandal. During moments of doubt, she would hark back to her late mentor's words. The truth may be hidden, but it's a journalist's duty to reveal it. Remembering that gave her courage. In interviews, some try to deflect with jocular remarks, while others advise her to leave some leeway and not dig too deeply. But Lena knew that compromise would bury the truth forever. As her report spread, the public atmosphere descended into mayhem. One of her articles suddenly went viral as if it had been conjured out of thin air, dominating the conversation overnight. Inside the hospitals, shambolic management and desultory systems collapsed under pressure, while company spokespeople scrambled to obfuscate the facts. Through underground sources, Lena managed to procure a copy of a critical contract. From it, she reaped new evidence, and ultimately derived from it the trust of the public. The investigation revealed that corruption was the very bane of the healthcare system. Her name and article quickly went viral, stirring debate across social media. Young readers adored her snappier and sharp writing style, eagerly reposting her work. Yet, powerful figures began to stoke it up, fanning the flames by accusing her of destabilizing society. At the press conference, the atmosphere erupted into utter pandemonium. Journalists, officials, and protesters clashed in a storm of shouting. That night, amidst the chaos, Lena gazed at the city lights. For the first time, everything felt clear. The path to truth was never easy, but it was always worth fighting for.
Now that we've heard the full article, let's go over it again. As we listen this time, I will explain the key vocabulary and phrases that are crucial to understanding the meaning of the text. Pay attention to how these expressions are used in context, as they'll help you better grasp the depth of the article.
In a city where politics and business were deeply entangled, hospitals thrived on corruption. Doctors often demanded kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies, leaving patients to shoulder an unfair burden.
Here.
We're going to focus on the word kickbacks, which appears in our article A Spark in the Chaos. Kickbacks refer to illegal payments made in exchange for favors, typically in business or political contexts. In the article, doctors are receiving kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies in return for prescribing certain medications. It's a form of corruption that exploits patients and undermines trust in healthcare.
So, is it like a bribe?
Exactly.
Kickbacks are a form of bribery. The key difference is that it's usually done secretly, often to benefit one party at the expense of another, like the patients in this case.
Couldn't these kickbacks lead to serious consequences?
Yes.
Absolutely. Kickbacks often lead to unfair practices, such as doctors prescribing medications for personal gain, not based on what's best for the patient. This can harm individuals and undermine the whole system.
Lena, a journalist, began investigating, only to find that the documents and testimonies were deliberately obscure.
Let's now look at the word obscure. In the article, Lena finds that the documents and testimonies are obscure, meaning they are unclear or difficult to understand. In this case, The information is purposely hidden or made confusing to prevent people from discovering the truth.
So, obscure means something that's hard to figure out. Right.
Yes.
Exactly. It can also mean something that is intentionally made unclear, like in the article where the information is difficult to interpret, possibly to protect those involved in the corruption.
Can obscure be used for things other than documents?
Definitely. You can use obscure to describe anything that's hard to see or understand, like an obscure fact or an obscure location that's hidden or not well known.
Sometimes so elusive that she couldn't tell truth from lies.
Now.
Let's talk about the word elusive. In the article, Lena describes some of the information she encounters as elusive, meaning it's hard to find or grasp. It's not just unclear, it actively evades her, almost as if it's deliberately hiding itself from her investigation.
So, elusive means something that's really hard to catch or figure out.
Exactly.
Elusive can refer to something that seems just out of reach, whether it's a concept, a person, or, in this case, important evidence. It makes the task of uncovering the truth much harder.
Can you use elusive to describe a person who's hard to catch?
Yes.
You can. For example, if someone is always avoiding meetings or hard to get in touch with, you might say they are elusive.
And at times even arcane, as though written for only a chosen few to understand.
Next, let's look at the word arcane. In the article, some of the documents Lena examines are described as arcane, meaning they are very mysterious or difficult to understand, often because they are written in an old or specialized way that only a few people can comprehend.
So, arcane means something that's secret or not for everyone to know.
Exactly. Arcane usually refers to knowledge or information that's hidden or understood by only a small group of people. It's often deliberately complicated to keep it from the general public.
Can we use arcane for things like old languages or ancient texts?
Yes.
Definitely. Ancient languages or obscure texts that only experts can understand are often called arcane because they're not accessible to most people.
She had to wield her pen like a weapon to expose the scandal.
Let's now look at the word wield. In the article, Lena is described as wielding her pen like a weapon. To wield something means to use or control it, often with skill or power. In this case, Lena uses her pen, her tool for writing, to fight against corruption and expose the truth.
So, wield means to use something, but in a powerful way.
Exactly. Wield often suggests using something effectively or forcefully, like a sword or, in Lena's case,
A pen.
it implies a sense of control and purpose when using the tool.
Can we use wield for other tools or things?
Yes.
Absolutely. You can wield anything with skill or power, whether it's a hammer, a weapon, or even influence or authority.
During moments of doubt, she would hark back to her late mentor's words.
Next, let's examine the phrase hark back to. In the article, Lena harks back to her late mentor's words for strength and guidance. To hark back to means to recall or remember something from the past, often to help explain or justify something in the present.
So, hark back to is like looking back at something for help or inspiration.
Exactly. It's like turning to a memory or past experience to guide you in the current situation. just like how Lena remembers her mentor's advice when she faces doubt.
Can you use hark back to for events? 2.
Yes.
You can hark back to historical events or past experiences to make a point or explain something that's happening now.
The truth may be hidden, but it's a journalist's duty to reveal it. Remembering that gave her courage. In interviews, some try to deflect with jocular remarks.
Let's now explore the word jocular. In the article, some people try to deflect Lena's questions with jocular remarks, which means they respond in a playful or humorous way, often to avoid serious discussion. Jocular is used to describe someone who is joking or lighthearted.
So, jocular means someone who's being funny or making jokes.
Yes.
Exactly. It refers to a tone or attitude that's cheerful or humorous. In the article, these jocular remarks were used to distract or downplay the seriousness of Lena's investigation.
Can you use jocular to describe a person's overall personality?
Yes.
You can. If someone is always joking around and has a playful nature, you could describe them as having a jocular personality.
While others advise her to leave some leeway and not dig too deeply.
Now.
Let's take a look at the word leeway. In the article, some people advise Lena to leave some leeway and not dig too deeply into the corruption. Leeway refers to the flexibility or room for movement in a situation. It's the freedom to make decisions or take actions without being tightly restricted.
So, leeway means giving someone more freedom or space to act.
Exactly. It's like allowing a little more freedom to avoid being too rigid. In this case, people want Lena to ease up and not press for the full truth.
Can leeway be used in situations outside of this article?
Yes.
You could give leeway in a project, allowing team members more time. Or in negotiations, giving someone more room to make decisions.
But Lena knew that compromise would bury the truth forever. As her report spread, the public atmosphere descended into mayhem.
Now.
Let's focus on the word mayhem. In the article, the public atmosphere descends into mayhem after Lena's article goes viral. Mayhem refers to chaos or disorder, often with confusion and violence. It's a state where things are out of control, and everything feels chaotic.
So, mayhem is like a situation where things are completely messed up.
Yes.
Exactly. Mayhem describes situations where there's confusion, disturbance, and a lack of order. In the article, it's used to describe the turmoil that follows Lena's exposé.
Can we use mayhem to describe a busy situation? Like at a concert or a party?
Yes.
If things are wildly out of control, like a crowd getting too excited, you can definitely describe it as mayhem.
One of her articles suddenly went viral as if it had been conjured out of thin air, dominating the conversation overnight.
Let's now look at the phrase conjured out of thin air. In the article, Lena's article goes viral, almost as if it had been conjured out of thin air. This expression means that something appears suddenly and unexpectedly, almost magically, without any obvious explanation or preparation.
So, conjured out of thin air means something appearing out of nowhere.
Exactly. It's like something surprising or unbelievable happening without any warning. In Lena's case, her article quickly gained attention, almost like it was created out of nothing.
Can you use conjured out of thin air for other situations?
Yes.
Definitely. You could use it for anything that seems to appear unexpectedly, like a brilliant idea that seems to come from nowhere, or an event that suddenly grabs everyone's attention.
Inside the hospitals, shambolic management and desultory systems collapsed under pressure.
Now.
Let's focus on the word shambolic. In the article, it's used to describe the shambolic management inside the hospitals, meaning it's disorganized,
Chaotic.
and falling apart. Shambolic refers to something that is in complete disorder or confusion, often due to poor planning or lack of control.
So, shambolic is like a complete mess.
Exactly. When something is shambolic, it's not just disorganized. It's in a state of complete disarray, often leading to dysfunction or failure.
Can shambolic be used to describe a person's actions or behavior?
Yes.
You could describe someone's actions as shambolic if they are disorganized or poorly planned. For example, if someone is constantly late and unprepared, their behavior might be called shambolic.
Now.
Let's look at the word desultory. In the article, the hospital systems are described as desultory, meaning they are random, inconsistent, and lack a clear direction or purpose. When something is desultory, it's haphazard or disconnected, often moving from one thing to another without focus.
So, desultory means something that's scattered or lacks organization.
Yes.
Exactly. When something is desultory, it lacks structure or coherence, making it inefficient or confusing, just like the systems in the hospitals described in the article.
Can you use desultory to describe a conversation?
Absolutely. If a conversation jumps from topic to topic without any clear direction or focus, you could describe it as desultory.
While company spokespeople scrambled to obfuscate the facts.
Let's now explore the word obfuscate. In the article, company spokespeople are described as trying to obfuscate the facts, which means they are intentionally making the truth unclear or confusing. Obfuscate refers to actions that deliberately hide the truth by making things complicated or hard to understand.
So, obfuscate is like trying to confuse people on purpose.
Exactly. When someone obfuscates, they make things difficult to understand, often to avoid answering difficult questions or to cover something up.
Can obfuscate be used for things other than information?
Yes.
You could use obfuscate to describe anything that's intentionally made unclear or confusing, like a confusing explanation or a misleading argument.
Through underground sources, Lena managed to procure a copy of a critical contract.
Next, let's look at the word procure. In the article, Lena manages to procure a critical contract through underground sources. Procure means to obtain something, often with effort or difficulty. It implies that the process of getting something is not easy, but requires persistence or skill.
So, procure means to get something, but usually in a more complicated or serious way.
Exactly. When you procure something, it suggests that you have worked hard or used resources to obtain it, especially when it's not easily accessible.
Can procure be used for things other than documents?
Yes.
You can procure anything, from an object to information or even services. For example, you might procure tickets to a sold-out concert or a rare item.
From it, She reaped new evidence.
Now.
Let's focus on the word reaped. In the article, Lena reaps new evidence from the critical contract she procures. Reap means to gather or receive something, especially as a result of hard work or effort. It often implies that the person has earned or deserved the outcome.
So, reaped means to get something after working for it. Like harvesting crops.
Exactly. The word reap originally comes from farming, where you gather crops after planting and tending to them. In this context, Lena has worked hard to gather evidence, and now she's receiving the fruits of her efforts.
Can reap be used for things other than evidence or crops?
Yes.
You can reap rewards, benefits, or even consequences from your actions. For example, if you study hard, you reap good grades.
And ultimately derive from it the trust of the public.
Let's look at the phrase derived from. In the article, Lena derives trust from the new evidence she uncovers. To derive from means to obtain or gain something from a particular source. In this case, Lena gains trust from the evidence she gathers during her investigation.
So, derived from means something comes from a source. Like getting an idea or information from somewhere.
Exactly. When you derive something, it means you obtain or receive it as a result of something else. Lena's trust comes from the evidence. So the trust is derived from the information she found.
Can derived from be used for other things? Like emotions or actions?
Yes.
You can say that a feeling or decision is derived from past experiences, meaning it comes as a result of them. For example, your decision to trust someone may be derived from their past actions.
The investigation revealed that corruption was the very bane of the healthcare system.
Now.
Let's discuss the word bane. In the article, corruption is described as the bane of the healthcare system. Bane refers to something that causes great harm, trouble, or misery. It's something that makes life difficult or even destructive.
So, bane is something that's harmful or a source of suffering.
Exactly. When something is called the bane of something else, it's the source of its problems or downfall. In this case, corruption is the major issue ruining the healthcare system.
Can bane be used for other things? Like people or habits?
Yes.
You can say that a bad habit is the bane of your productivity, meaning it's the main reason you're not getting things done.
Or,
a person's actions might be the bane of a situation, causing constant trouble.
Her name and article quickly went viral, stirring debate across social media.
Let's look at the phrase went viral. In the article, one of Lena's articles went viral, meaning it spread rapidly and widely across the internet, gaining a lot of attention in a very short time. When something goes viral, it becomes incredibly popular almost overnight.
So, went viral means something became really popular quickly. Like a video or post.
Exactly. It refers to content, like articles, videos, or images, that spreads rapidly through social media and the internet. Often shared by thousands of people, it gains widespread attention almost immediately.
Can went viral be used for things other than articles or videos?
yes.
While it's most commonly used for online content, you could also use it for trends, memes, or even events that quickly capture widespread attention.
Young readers adored her snappier and sharp writing style, eagerly reposting her work.
Let's now focus on the word snappier. In the article, Lena's writing style is described as snappier and sharp, meaning her writing is quick, energetic,
and to the point.
Snappier refers to something that is more concise and direct, often with a sense of freshness or punch.
So, snappier means something is more energetic or quick.
Exactly. When we say something is snappier, it's not just quicker, it's also more impactful, with less fluff. Lena's snappier writing style grabs attention quickly and makes a stronger impression.
Can snappier be used for things other than writing?
Yes.
You can use snappier to describe anything that is quicker or sharper. For example, a snappier response would be a quick, clever reply. Or a snappier outfit could be one that's stylish and stands out.
Yet, powerful figures began to stoke it up, fanning the flames by accusing her of destabilizing society.
Next, let's look at the phrase stoke it up. In the article, powerful figures stoke up the situation by accusing Lena of destabilizing society. To stoke up means to stir something up or make it more intense, often by adding fuel to the fire, like increasing the drama or conflict.
So, stoke up means to make something worse or more intense.
Exactly. It's like adding fuel to a fire to make it burn hotter. In this case, the powerful figures are stoking up the controversy to make the situation even more chaotic and heated.
Can stoke up be used for emotions or situations?
Yes.
You can stoke up emotions, like anger or excitement, by encouraging or intensifying them. For example, someone might stoke up anger by making provocative statements.
At the press conference, the atmosphere erupted into utter pandemonium.
Let's now discuss the word pandemonium. In the article, the press conference descends into pandemonium, meaning complete chaos and disorder. Pandemonium refers to a situation where there's wild confusion,
Noise.
or uproar, usually because things are out of control.
So, pandemonium is like total chaos.
Exactly. It's a state where everything is completely disorganized and loud, often with people acting in a frantic or confused manner. The press conference, in this case, turned into a scene of chaos, with no control or order.
Can pandemonium be used for things other than events?
Yes.
Pandemonium can describe any situation, like a crowd at a concert or a busy market, where there's a lot of noise, confusion, and disorder. It's usually used for large, chaotic scenes.
Journalists, officials, and protesters clashed in a storm of shouting. That night, amidst the chaos, Lena gazed at the city lights. For the first time, everything felt clear. The path to truth was never easy, but it was always worth fighting for.
We'll now listen to the article one more time. This time, I encourage you to focus on the new vocabulary and phrases we've discussed. Try to connect the words with the ideas they convey, and notice how they enhance the overall message of the article.
In a city where politics and business were deeply entangled, hospitals thrived on corruption. Doctors often demanded kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies, leaving patients to shoulder an unfair burden. Lena, a journalist, began investigating, only to find that the documents and testimonies were deliberately obscure, sometimes so elusive that she couldn't tell truth from lies, and at times even arcane, as though written for only a chosen few to understand. She had to wield her pen like a weapon to expose the scandal. During moments of doubt, She would hark back to her late mentor's words. The truth may be hidden, but it's a journalist's duty to reveal it. Remembering that gave her courage. In interviews, some try to deflect with jocular remarks, while others advise her to leave some leeway and not dig too deeply. But Lena knew that compromise would bury the truth forever. As her report spread, the public atmosphere descended into mayhem. One of her articles suddenly went viral as if it had been conjured out of thin air, dominating the conversation overnight. Inside the hospitals, shambolic management and desultory systems collapsed under pressure, while company spokespeople scrambled to obfuscate the facts. Through underground sources, Lena managed to procure a copy of a critical contract. From it, she reaped new evidence, and ultimately derived from it the trust of the public. The investigation revealed that corruption was the very bane of the healthcare system. Her name and article quickly went viral, stirring debate across social media. Young readers adored her snappier and sharp writing style, eagerly reposting her work. Yet, powerful figures began to stoke it up, fanning the flames by accusing her of destabilizing society. At the press conference, the atmosphere erupted into utter pandemonium. Journalists, officials, and protesters clashed in a storm of shouting. That night, amidst the chaos, Lena gazed at the city lights. For the first time, everything felt clear. The path to truth was never easy, but it was always worth fighting for.
That concludes today's lesson. I hope you found it insightful and that you now have a better understanding of the vocabulary and phrases used in A Spark in the Chaos. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to our next class.